Alright, here's what we did. I created the VLANs 20, 30, and 40 on switch number 1, and in addition configured the interfaces to have access to the following VLANs 20 and 30. No, I'm not using 40, and so right now if I come over here to the switch and we just point to the switch itself, you can see, alright, that bank 05 and bank 010 are up, as well as 15. Now here's what's going to happen. It will not work. Don't worry, but we've got to try it out anyway, and we've got to ask ourselves, why is it not working? We know that we should be able to go from here. This is a VLAN right here. This is the same VLAN. VLAN here, VLAN 20 to VLAN 20. Ready to try? Here we go. Let's go into the simulation mode. We're going to get rid of the event list. We're going to pick up a packet. We're going to go from here, and we're going to go to here. Through, we're going to actually possibly ARP out first. We're going to get to the switch. We're going to come across this switch. I'm going to come out here. Alright, ready? This will be an ARP to start with. And, as you know, it checks the ARP cache. PC 0 is looking for PC 2, and that is, it's trying to ping on 192.168.125. Doesn't have it in the ARP, so we're going to ARP out. And here we go. Forward. Alright, so far so good. Switch number 0 now has the ARP, and it's now going to forward it out. How come it doesn't forward it out? Okay, it's real easy, guys. The trunk. See right here, we have not configured this particular trunk, this connection between gigabit 1, 0 and switch 2, switch number 1's gigabit 1, 2. In other words, we haven't configured the trunk to do VLAN trunking. Easiest enough to talk about, though. Let's just go ahead and do it. I'm going to first delete. It's here. We need to configure, and you only have to do it on one side, we need to configure this port for VLAN trunking. Here's the command right here at the config T. Interface, gig, bank 1, port 2, okay, switch port mode, trunk, and click exit. So in this case here, we're going to be configuring switch 1, and then we'll come back and we'll change this to gig 11 to configure switch port 0. Here we go. Start over here. Spacebar. Okay. And okay, I'm not going to re-record this. I did misspeak, you know. We need to also configure this particular port here, the port that is on switch 0. In other words, I've got to come to switch 0, and the interface, because we connected gig 11 to 12, is we need to configure gig 11 on switch 0. Okay, here we go. Too fast. Not bad though, not bad. Let's go ahead and delete, create a new scenario. Alright, we're going to go into the simulation mode, and now we'll see, does she work? Okay, we're getting a little ahead of ourselves. First of all, we need a little bit of a convergence. Okay, a little bit of convergence here between switch 1 and switch 0. Maybe we can force the shot. Let's see what happens. And we see that there's no entering the ARP table that shows that we have an MAC address for IP address 192.168.125, and so let's fire away and see if we can get it to go. Into the switch 0, we'll switch forward. Didn't switch forward yet. We don't have convergence. Stand by. Okay, now we're back and we're ready now. And guys, it took just about 2 seconds for the switches to go green on me. So let's go ahead and do the demonstration now. I'm in simulation mode. I'm going to go ahead and launch an ICMP packet, and that is a ping packet between PC0 and PC2. They should be in the same LAN. Notice they're on different switches. They got different IP addresses, but they're in the same network. Ready to fire. Here we go. PC0, PC2. All right, the very first thing that happens, of course, in PC0, once again, is it does not know what the MAC address is. These are all layer 2 devices, right? Doesn't know what the MAC address is for 192.168.125, so it's got to launch an ARP. Here we go. Forward. Switch 0, doing the good thing, receives the ARP broadcast and is now going to broadcast out all the ports that are what? Configured as Vlan 20s. Notice that the trunk now handles the VLANs. Notice that this trunk now handles VLANs. Now here's the deal on this. This trunk will handle all VLANs now. It's configured for a trunking protocol, so it handles all VLANs. Unfortunately, you cannot just assign one VLAN to a trunk, but there is a provision in the protocol that will allow you to exclude a VLAN if necessary. Having said that, though, we're going to continue on forward. Look at that, amazing. Switch number 1 now actually forwarding out the only port that is in the same VLAN. Okay, we're going to go forward. All right. 192.168.125 is now responding with its MAC address coming through the switch. All right, happy now. PC0 now has the IP address, is now going to push it out. I'm sorry, has the MAC address, is now going to push it out, and that's it, guys. Let's go ahead and take a look one more time at what we had to do. You have to create the VLAN. The VLAN is identical on both switches. Now that means you got to type it in exactly the same on both switches. Then you have to assign ports. Now just for expedience, I use the same port numbers to assign to the same VLANs, mainly because I'm cutting and pasting, slicing and dicing here, so it had to go pretty fast. You could have a range of ports to each VLAN. Finally, and importantly, the connection between switch 0 and switch 1, and I'm using the gigabit switch, but whatever switch ports, but whatever port it is, you need to configure that particular port to be able to use trunking. Take a look. Config T, interface, gig, okay, 1.1, switch port mode, trunk. That's it. All right, having said that then, too easy, right, guys? Too easy? All right, I want you guys to be able to replicate this for me with your eyes closed. Here's the technique. Just practice it in Notepad. I know, kind of strange, right? Just practice it in Notepad. Make sure that you get it right, and then go ahead, try to just pop it into a packet tracer. That's all for now. Let me close this baby out. All right, everybody, thanks, and good day.